Okay, guys, I'm going to go through the practice test with you. I suggest that you have your cheat sheet out, add stuff to it, see what you need, okay? And I'm going to kind of go fast. You just stop it as you need to stop, okay? The test very much aligns. I'll key you in on certain things when I think it's important, okay, even more. Okay, first, you know these base angles are congruent and these sides are congruent. That makes this an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. By the angles, I've got, when there's one obtuse angle, I call it obtuse. In order to be acute, all three have to be acute. So this is an obtuse, oh my goodness. Okay, obtuse isosceles triangle. Now in this one, it looks right, can't tell, okay? If I were to do this and I put the right angle symbol in, if I put that in, then I could say it's right. This does not say right, but all three are different, which means it is, woo, scary scalene. Scary because nothing is congruent to each other. And then all are acute. I don't have to be marked. I don't have to have numbers there to determine that it's acute. I don't have to have a number to say that it's obtuse. Okay, on this one, same thing. We're doing the same idea. All three sides are congruent. All three angles are congruent. So we call this equiangular and equilateral. This one, I've got a 90 right here, 90. So I know right away, even though these two are acute, again, in order to be acute triangle, all three angles have to be acute. All three. This is not, only two are. This is a right triangle. And this is, nothing is marked equal to each other. So again, this is scary scalene. Okay. Okay, now we've got, let's read the next one. Triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle with the sides equal being side AB and BC. So I'm going to do that. Okay. A, B, C, side AB, side BC are the equal sides. Sketch it. Be sure to mark the congruent sides. Length A to B is 8x minus 1. We are talking about sides. We are not talking about angles. A to B is a side. Side BC is 6x plus 3. Side CA is 10x minus 10. Write an equation to find the value of x. Because these are the sides that are equal to each other, these are the two expressions that equal each other. 8x subtract 1 equals 6x plus 3. Get the x's on one side of the equation. And then get your constants. Do the add, subtract first. Multiply, divide second. When they're mashed is multiply. Okay, x is 2. Now it says find the length of each side. Well, when I look at this one, okay, let me move it down, please. Okay, it says from A to B is 8x minus 1. So I'm going to go ahead and my x is 2. Remember, when two things are mashed together, it means multiplied, okay? And this 2 is replacing, substituted in for the x. The 2 goes right in there, right over the x. So I've got 8 times 2 minus 1, which is 16 minus 1, which is 15. I don't even have to do the other side. It says from B to C, it has to be the same, so I know it's 15, but just for schnicks, let's do it. B to C is 6 times x, 6x plus 3. We said it's 2, so that 2 goes right over the x, right? So I got 6 times 2, 12 plus 3, 15. Yep, at least we did it right, huh? Okay, 15. And then the length from C to A is not, we're not given that all 3 are equal. Only the 2 legs are equal, so I'm going to have to go ahead and do that. 10x minus 10, this is multiplied. My x again is equal to a 2, so I'm replacing the x with a 2. So I'm going to go ahead and say 10 times 2 minus 10, 20 minus 10, so that length is 10. Okay, last one on this first page, it says find the measure of angle 1 in the diagram. I've got 40 and 55. What is angle 1? Notice this has a degree. It's the measure of this angle. How far is the angle open? How wide is it open? 55 degrees. This is just naming the angle. There is no degree sign there. So what is the measure? What is the numeric value? I want a number. Okay, the golden rule for triangles is always 180. Golden rule, the sum of the interior angles of a triangle, always the sum of the measures of the interior angles, 180. So I'm going to write out the equation. You don't have to do it this way. Measure of angle 1 plus this 40 plus 55 has to equal 180, the golden rule, plus 95, right? So now we subtract the 95, which a lot of you guys would have done. Add them together, subtract from 180. I am doing the language of math, which is algebra, to help me see that. So that would be 85. Okay? So it's 85 degrees, measure of angle 1. Okay? So I knew it's 180, add them together, subtract from 180, and we're good. Okay, that's page 1. Flip her over. Find the measure of each angle in the figure at the right. These are all isosceles triangles or equilateral triangles. So when I'm looking at these, I've got 2 sides equal. This one, I've got 2 angles equal. This one, 2 sides. So you have to remember when you have when you have 2 sides of a triangle equal, then the base angles are equal. The sides that are equal are called legs. The third side is just called the base, and the base angles sit on the base. If at first I'm given the base angles are equal, again, the base angles sit on the base angles are adjacent to the base. Both of them have to touch the base. That means these 2 are the legs. If the base angles are congruent, the legs are congruent. That takes care of this section. So on this picture here, this is 70. I've got a leg, a base. So I know this angle and this angle are my congruent angles. I know that the total always for the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180. This is x, this is x. A lot of you guys are going to go 180 minus 70. Okay, that gives you 110. 110 divided by 2 will give you 55. Again, I'm going to write it out algebraically. Okay, there you go. This one, these are my base angles. So that means this is a leg and this is a leg. This is a little too simple. On your test, the triangle, the orientation might be on their sides. Okay, they're not always going to be up and down. So that's kind of bad that we did it this way, but I'm just telling you. Since the 2 base angles are congruent, the legs are congruent, that means you set these 2 expressions equal to each other. So 6x minus 16 equals 4x plus 26. Move the variables to only one side. Add the constant to the other side, right? And then always do your multiplication and division last. Okay? This is a length of a side, so it's just 21. It is not degrees. Degrees are for angles. So when we were doing this one, we said 55 degrees. We were talking about an angle. This one's the length of sides. Okay, it's either segments or angles. This one was segments. Okay, last one. I've got these two sides are congruent. Okay, that means these are congruent. Whether they were intended to be angles or sides, it doesn't matter. They're going to be equal. So 3x plus 27 equals 6x minus 15. 27 equals 3x minus 15. 3x equals 42 divided by 3, right? Is that 14? Is that right? 14 times 3, 42. Yep. Okay, so that's your answer. So it goes like this. Okay? Now, this is a congruent statement, I'm stating that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. When I write these, I think it's easy to see if we write the points under each other, and it's easier to match them up. So if I'm going to go segment JO, I'm doing the first and the last, so I do the first and the last. Segment RI. If I go segment I, or angle I has to be congruent to angle O. Okay, remember they have to, when we write a congruent statement, the corresponding angles always have to be aligned. Now, show that the triangles below are congruent. Identify the congruent corresponding parts and write a congruent statement. Okay, so in this one, I've got the 1 hash to the 1 hash. These are referring to sides. Okay, so side EG is congruent to side LJ. Let's do the 2. Okay, 2, 2. So that means start to end, start to end. Side FG is congruent to side LK. And then the last one, 3 to 3. So I'm going F to E, start to end. You always name the end points of the segment. End point, start to end, KJ. Corresponding angles. Let's start with the right. This is easy. Right angle to right angle. I like that one. So angle F and K go together. Okay, now on this one, I think you can see if you go along the 2 hash mark side, you get to the G. If I start at K and go along the 2 hash mark side, I go to L. These two match up together. And then lastly, I've got angle E and angle J. Okay, on the test, to make it easier for me to grade, I'm always going to put one of the triangles in here. In this instance, let's just go F to G to E. So I'll have the first one listed, and you'll go the one that matches it. F has to match up with K. We're going along a 2 hash mark side, so we're going to K goes along 2 hash mark to L, and then the only thing left is J. So K, L, J. Okay? Now on this one, it gives us the triangle congruent statement. I'm saying triangle A, found exactly what it says, goes from A to B to C, okay? So this is A to B. I'm going to put 2 here, and to C. I'll put 3 here, just to help me see it. Matches up D, E, F. So A matches up with D, so I'm going to put 1 curve, okay? E matches up with B. B has 2, so E is going to have 2. And then F matches up with C, so F and C match up, so they both have 3. And that'll kind of help me a little bit when I name them. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. And I've got angle A is 70. That's a 1 curve, so this one's 70. angle C. And if you didn't want to do the curve matching up, you didn't have to. You could just go straight from this, like A, B, C, go D, E, F if you want to write it below, and just match them up, right? Match these up. So maybe this was redundant. I didn't need to do that. So A matches up with D. They're both 70. B matches up with E. So B and E are both 80. These are all degrees. We're talking angles, not sides. They're angles. And then this one here, C and F match up, so 30. And this one's 30. Okay? So let's go ahead and do this. I've got 70, 80, and 30. Add those together. Remember the golden rule is 180. I'm just checking. And I've got 70 plus 80. That's 150. 150 plus 30. Yeah, that's 180. We're good. Now it says write and solve an equation to find y. So if angle E is 80 and it's also 6y minus 4, then that's what I'm going to put together. Those are the two expressions that go equal to each other. 6y minus 4 has to equal 80. Add 4 and then divide by 6. I'm going to get y equals, what's that go in there? 14. 6 goes in the 8 one time. 2 left over, right? 14. Write and solve an equation for x. Where's my x at? Right here, this side. Side ED. Look at this. ED is my first two letters, so it has to match up with AB. That's a big deal that you guys see that. From E to D, first two letters, right, has to match up with the first two letters, A to B. So I'm using this and this. So I'm going 3x. I'm going to put this over here. I need a little more room. Minus y equals 10. This time I have two variables. I cannot solve an equation with two variables unless I have two different equations or if I know what one of them already is. So do you guys see we already found what our y equals, right? So I'm going to get rid of this y, and in place of the y, I'm just going to write a 14 right over it. Okay? So my equation says, I know that's messy, 3x minus 14 equals 10, add 14, 3x equals 24, mashed is multiply, inverse of multiply is divide, and I've got x is equal to 8, okay? There we go on that one. In the figure at the right, now you guys got to remember this, okay? Your two big ones, the sum of the interior angles, 1, 2, 3, if they're all interior angles, all the angles facing in towards a triangle is always 180. If they're all interior. This one, though, is different. This is an exterior angle, okay? And then these are two interior angles that are not adjacent. We've got three interiors. 1, 2, 3. This one is adjacent. I don't use this one. The two interior angles that are not adjacent add up to be this one. And that's all I do. 72 plus 4x equals 142. And then I solve it. Okay? Right? And then divide by 4. So 70 divided, so now when you're doing this one, okay, the other, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. 70 divided by 4, and I get 17.5. Okay? Now it says, what's the measure of angle B to A to C? Remember, the vertex is always the middle angle. You walk it and talk it. B to A to C, that's your 4x. So that equals 4 times x. So we're going to put that 17.5 in there. Right? 4 times that is 70. And that's your answer right there. And you knew that too, because 142 minus 72 is 70. That has to be 70. Okay, let's flip it over. Oh, page 3. You got this. You guys, I hope you do well on this test, okay? Now this page to me is, wait, what are we on? This is number 10. Okay, this page, really pay attention to the formatting, okay? The formatting on the test. This is exactly like the test, except that the questions are different. But you have to see the format, the layout of it, because that's a stinking big deal. If you don't have the layout right, it's gonna be all messed up. Okay? I'm trying to find the test where I printed it. I was gonna find the test to show you. Well, obviously I can't show you, but okay, let's just do it. Here we go. First thing you're gonna do, the directions and everything are exactly the same. This is the same exact layout used on the test. Super important, okay? So here we go. First, you're going to determine if the pair of triangles can be proven congruent, and you're going to circle yes or no, okay? You're going to choose a correct theorem to say that they're congruent. I have to add HL to these, okay? All these should have HL too, okay? So we'll put that on there. You circle the right one. And then write a statement and the reason that the third pair of congruent, and reason for the third pair of congruent sides or angles. You are going to write a reason other than congruent because of the hash marks and curves, okay? So this is like hash marks and curves directly tell you what are congruent. So in each of these diagrams and these pictures of triangles, you're going to have to indirectly determine which ones are congruent to each other. Okay, so you have to look at your notes. That one section, I think it was section 3, you've got shared sides, you've got vertical angles, parallel lines, so you have alternate interior angles, perpendicular lines. That list of options that you look for in the diagrams that indirectly tell you things are congruent. That's what we're doing. Okay, so first off, can I say that this triangle is congruent? Well, this is how the layout is, and I'm not going to do that first. Okay, first I'm going to look at this and go, okay, there's one pair of sides. That's one pair of sides. This is me thinking. I've got another pair of sides. Okay, now when I look at this picture, do I see vertical angles? Do I see shared sides? Do I see parallel lines? What do I see? And what I see on here is a shared side. If I were to split these two triangles, I'd have this triangle is congruent to this triangle here, and it would be because 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 pair of sides are congruent to each other, okay? And it's this shared side that's not marked. That's what I'm writing here. The part that you have to figure out on your own using your past learning. So this side is going to be congruent. On your test, they are labeled with letters on there, okay? So I'm going to put letters on here for this. I'm going to call this AB, and I'm going to say side AB is congruent to side AB. Why do I know that? That is a shared side, which means reflexive property. Again, you don't have to write shared side. I'm just telling you what to look for. So now I've got 3 pair of sides. Okay? So are they congruent? Yes. What is my reason? Side, side, side. Okay, let's look at number 12. Okay, I've got a pair of angles. I've got a pair of angles. I've got a pair of sides. I've got a pair of sides. Okay? So that's 1 pair of angles, 1 pair of sides. So now I got to look at the picture. What is the other thing in the picture that is not directly marked with curves or hash marks? And I'm hoping you guys see this right here, which is vertical angles. Okay, that's what I'm hoping you see. So I'm going to have another pair of angles here. So in this case, if I start here, I've got angles, angle, side. This is not the side between the two angles. It goes angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. Okay? I wrote this. Do not go by the order that I wrote. It is not angle, side, angle, but that's just how I wrote what I found congruent. Again, it's if it were to be the angle, side angle, you'd have to use the side that's adjacent to both of these angles. That side would have to be the side. This side would have to be to this side, because that's the one congruent to both. Adjacent to both angles. And it is not, so it is not angle, side, angle. It's angle, angle, side. Yes, I have the 3 pieces of information I need. And on this one, I've got vertical angles congruent. If I called this A, B, C, and this one D, E, I would say angle A, B, C is congruent to angle D, B, E. And these are vertical angles are congruent. Okay? Okay, next one. Again, I'm not going to do the yes or no first. I'm going to look at my picture. One pair of sides. Another pair of sides. Okay? What do I see in the picture that's not directly marked? And again, I could see that I have vertical angles right here. So I'm going to have a pair of angles. Now, in order to use sides, and an angle, this angle has to be the included angle. You have to go side, angle, side. If I were to scriggle the 2 sides, right? Scriggle, scriggle. They intersect here, so that's my included angle. If I do this one, scriggle, scriggle, they intersect here. So yes, these are the included angles. Yes, it is side, angle, side. Okay? Yes, they are congruent. And my reason, again, let's do the same thing. A, B, C, D, E. I'm going to say my vertical angles are congruent. And I'm going to say angle A, but the angle symbol, it's not a triangle, it's an angle. Angle ABC is congruent to angle DBE. Okay, next one. This one, if I were to split these 2 triangles, I've got this triangle and I've got this triangle. Okay, I've got 2 different triangles here. I've got a pair of angles here and here. I've got this pair of angles here and here. Remember, you're either marking sides or angles. And these are angles. So I've got 2 pairs of angles. Okay? So the only time I could use 2 pair of angles is if I know angle, the side between them. When I look at that, that has to be this side right here. Is this side congruent to both triangles? And yes, it is, because that's my shared side. So let's go A, B, C, D. So side AC is congruent to side AC. And I'm going to say this is a shared side. Remember, that's just my words. These aren't math words. The math word is to say reflexive property. Like your reflection, right? You see yourself. We said this is angle, side, angle, and yes, they're congruent. Okay, almost done. Then we got one more page. Okay, I've got a pair of sides. I've got a pair of sides. This one's a trickster. And then right here, again, I'm using vertical angles. Okay, so I've got vertical angles. But I want you to look at this. This one goes, I'm going to start here. I've got a side, and I've got a side, and then I've got the angle. Remember, if I were to, I'm going to redraw that triangle here. It's this side and this side. If you're going to use side, angle, side, it has to be the included angle where the two sides meet. It would have to be this angle. That would give me side, angle, side. This is not the included angle. But on the bottom triangle down here, I'll do this one in, I don't know, green, so you can see it better. Okay, if I did this triangle, okay, this time I've got side, and this one would be angle, side, and that is the included angle. So down here, I've got side, angle, side, but on the top, I've got your cuss word, angle, side, side, or you could say side, side, angle. These do not, they're not the same, and you can't use this. So are they congruent? No. So I don't even need to do the rest. I don't need to write down vertical angles. I don't care about any of that because I can't show the triangles are congruent. Okay. Okay, now on your test, you have some just like this, exactly like this, and it might even be 5, I'm not sure. And then you have a proof on the back. So let's talk about this proof. Use the picture at the right to state the given and prove that the two triangles are congruent. So we're going to write this down. 1 mark, 1 mark. Let's do it. You guys know how to do it. Write the two sides that are congruent in the picture. And this is given in the picture. And you could say hash marks. You don't have to. I'm just doing that. Okay? Then I've got this one here. Okay, this I should put down here. Okay? You've got these two sides, so F to I and I to H. Given in picture. Hash marks. Okay. Then I'm looking for something else, and I've got this shared side. Right? Shared side, which is GI. So shared side, reflexive property. Okay, so are the two triangles congruent? Yes. And the reason is I've got 3 pairs of sides. Okay, so the reason is side, side, side theorem. Okay, I'm going to go F, G, I. So if I'm going F to G to I, I'd have to go H to G to I. Okay, there's the first one. Second one. Okay, same thing. Let's mark what we've got. Let's write it. Okay, I've got B to A and D to E. Those are the segments. Hash marks, segments. Curves, angles. I only have one angle here, so I could write just one letter. So I'm going to put given in picture, hash marks. Okay, angle A, one angle at this vertex, one angle at this vertex. Let's keep it simple, right? And why do I know? The curves, given in picture. I got the little curves on the angles, the angle curves. I'll call it that, angle curves. I don't have to write that, just say given in picture. It's directly, explicitly given to me. Now the other one that's indirect that we've done a bunch of times already are the vertical angles, right? Picture me with the yardsticks, right? Vertical angles are always congruent. So I know this. I'm going to put 2 curves this time. I already used 1 curve, so I'm going to use 2 curves. Okay? This time there is more than one angle at point C. So I have to walk it and talk it. In the middle letter always has to be where you turn, where the vertex is. Angle B, C, A is congruent to. Same thing, middle letter. It has to be the vertex. D, C, E. Right? B to C to A, D to C to E. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so look at what I've got. Angles, right? Angles. Side. It is not the side between the two angles. So if I start here, I've got angle, keep going, angle, side. If I start here, just like I did here, I started at C. I went angle to another angle to a side. So I'm going to start to go this way. Angle to an angle to a side. Okay? Again, if we're doing a triangle and I give you two angles and I give you this side is adjacent to both angles. This one would be angle, side, angle. Okay? But if I give you a picture and I go angle, angle, and I don't give the included side that both angles are adjacent to, I give an outside side of that, then this would be angle, angle, side. This is included, angle, side, angle. This one's angle, angle, side. And that's what this is. Angle, angle, side is the reason the two triangles are congruent. I'm going to start at C and go to A and go to B. C, A, B. What would match with C? C would. And I'm going to a one curve, right? C to A, so I have to go C to D. Okay. Then we're done with that one. Okay. This one is the same one again. Okay. Complete the congruency statement for the given figure. Triangle L, M, N matches up with triangle L, M, K. The reason is side, side, side. It says, if the measure of angle K, L, M, this is my vertex, L, so K to L to M is 86 degrees. I'm talking about the angle, not the side. And the measure of angle L, we're doing an angle again, L to M to N is 62. L to M to N is 62. You with? Find the measure of angle K. This one is the one I want to find. Okay? This angle and this angle match up. These just flip over. Flip. They flip over. So this is 86, this is 86, this is 62, this is 62. The magic number for the measure, the sum of the measures of the interior angles, right? We call it the golden rule of triangles, is 180. So you're just going to go x plus 86 plus 62 is 180. So you're adding these together, subtracting from 180. Right? Did I add up right? 8, 14, yep. Okay. So 10 minus 8, 2, 7, 3, right? 32? So this has to be 32 degrees here. Let's check my math, make sure I did good, okay? So just for checks, we're going to go 32 plus 86 plus 62. Punch it in your calculator, make sure I didn't make an error. You didn't make an error. Because if we did it right, it should add up to be 180, which it does. Woohoo! We did it right. Okay, so the measure of angle K is 32. Now, on this, stuff for you to watch. There were no HLs in here. We just learned that. So make sure you can do that and you have right triangles. Also, there were no pictures where we did parallel lines, okay? Remember, when you do parallel lines, you're going to do alternate interior angles congruent, the Z angles, right? So none of those are on here in these examples, but it's something to think about. Okay, good luck on your test. Hope you do well. You could email me if you have questions. Bye, you guys. Good luck.